Am I the butthole for refusing to tell my 11-year-old niece how gay sex works? Okay, the title is wild. I apologies for any brain cells lost reading this. People, me, 24M. My fiancé, 25M. My niece, female, 11. My sister-in-law, female, 34. My brother, 38M. My dad, 60M. My dad's birthday was yesterday, so we agreed that since COVID laws in the country allow it, we would come together and celebrate because he had been alone for the majority of COVID. My niece has always known I was gay, and she knows how heterosexual sex works because she has had sex ed in school, crappy year 6 sex, but still she has basic knowledge. She's friendly with my fiancé, and he's friendly to her, but they have the obvious boundaries that you should have with someone who is going to be your uncle. Me and fiancé were eating on the other side of the garden because of a play fight we had with dad, and then my niece came over and asked how 2 men have kids. I told her that we'd just adopt a baby, but that she would definitely get cousins to play with, because I thought the problem was that she thought she'd get no cousins. Then she started pushing that if neither of us was a girl, then how do we love each other? And my fiancé said that 2 men do it differently but that we still love each other. More pushing, until she literally said to my fiancé, "Where do you put your willy?" We both started laughing and saying that when she got older she would find out, and that she didn't need to know right now. She started to cry and said we were making fun of her, and I tried telling her that it was just a bit uncomfortable for us to tell her about something, sex, that she had only just been given details about. When my sister-in-law heard my niece crying, she came over and was less than pleasant about how we made her cry. We told her what niece had asked about, and she said that we should have told her because she's old enough. We then told her that we didn't feel comfortable doing that, and that if niece was really itching to know how 2 men have sex, then her and my brother should tell her. Then my dad and brother heard the commotion and came over. When my dad realized what was happening, he started laughing really hard, which just made my niece cry more. It got so bad that my brother, sister-in-law and niece left. I feel like absolute crap. Am I the butthole? Edit. Oh god, I've been making people think my fiancé is female because I spelled IT wrong. I don't know whether to cry or laugh. Not the butthole. If your sister-in-law thought your niece had a right to know, she should be one explaining it. Also, an 11-year-old should know better than to ask a question in that manner. I mean, that phrasing, wow. Sister-in-law and your bro need to be parents and explain boundaries as well. No one owes your niece, and it sounds like she freaks out when she doesn't get her way. Whoa buddy, flip this situation around where original poster tells the niece how any sort of sex, doesn't have to be between homosexuals, works, and the parents weren't ready to give them the talk and man, are you a butthole? If I'm not mistaken, 11-year-olds are usually still in elementary school, so I would think it would be more unusual for them to have already learned about sex than not at that age, and it's definitely not someone besides their parents' place to teach them. Original poster replies. I think you replied to the wrong comment, Japron11. Info. Is it normal for your niece to start crying when you say no? For the post, she started crying because she thought they were laughing at her. That sort of sensitivity is not exactly abnormal for children, especially ones around that age, i.e. nearing / at puberty and all the hormonal changes that come with. Her crying is one of the less objectionable things in the post in my honest opinion, easily topped by niece being old enough to not ask those sorts of things so bluntly, and by sister-in-law getting upset with original poster rather than taking her daughter aside. Agreed, that's completely normal in my experience as a previous 11-year-old girl. I remember being 12 and one tablemate joking about getting porn star tatted on his arm. I kept asking what porn meant, and my classmates wouldn't tell me, until finally I shouted, "What does porn mean?" I remember my class going quiet, and my teacher, who was actually a long-term sub, just kind of looked at me and then pretended not to hear, like I am not touching that shit. Another one of my table mates gently pulled me to them and whispered, "It means naked people." I remember going beet red, and another girl, not one of my table mates, looked at me and said, "Did you seriously not know what porn meant?" I shook my head and she scoffed and was like, "That's just sad." I was a little sheltered, grew up in a nice little suburb with nice blue ribbon schools, and this was the early 2000s, like 2000 to 2001, when the internet was a very different thing than it is now. I was also the oldest of my immediate siblings, didn't grow up with my much older half-siblings, so I wasn't exposed to that sort of thing. Kids will ask things that seem obviously inappropriate to us, but often have not been explicitly taught what is and is not appropriate to ask and say. I remember I learned the phrase "screw you" around that age too and kept saying it at a party, not knowing what it meant, until finally a friend told me later on. My parents never heard me say it, so they didn't know to correct the behavior. Edit. Just editing to say I love all the hilariously wholesome stories coming in. This is so cute and funny and I feel so much better for my past self, ha ha ha. I didn't see where they laughed at her, thought it was only the grandpa. I got my first second ed at elementary school. We also learned periods. Super basic, some dude ejaculates in the female and voila can become a baby. Most 11-year-old get periods. It's around that time the talk, TM, is given. Hope things like consent, rape and all the jazz are more common now. The emphasis we had was to narc if we were shown drugs with dare. I got my daughter a book series on bodies and what happens as you age. It covers consent, periods, masturbation, hygiene, sexuality, and its fluidity, and safe sex, very broadly. The next book of the series, when she hits like 13-14, will go more into topics like contraceptive types and how they work, safe sex, coercion, being safe on SM and with technology, nude/revenge porn, and a bunch of stuff on handling bad dates/being uncomfortable with a partner and trusting your gut. She reads the books and highlights anything she has questions about, then I'll look at what she's not sure of and take a beat to figure out the best way to frame/discuss the topic in an age-appropriate way. That way I don't end up saying something stupid/embarrassing her. Which isn't always easy. Now that I think about it, I need to find one about drugs and alcohol too. Edit. Because some people asked, I want to include the titles we've had the most success with. Celebrate Your Body 1 and 2 by Drs. Carrie Leff and Lisa Klein. And American Girls, The Care and Keeping of You 1 and 2. Celebrate Your Body number 2 is the one that I've loved the most. It touches on consent, hygiene, not needing soap inside your vagina is a big one, and sexual identity. But I'd recommend getting both series because they complement each other well and cover things in greater depth that the other series may have glossed over. We got the first books when our daughter was about 8/9 and we noticed she was starting puberty and just kept discussing the topics regularly until she was comfortable and understood enough about it to be ready for the next set. Oh man, you just reminded me of a childhood memory. My mom gave me a very old, and very outdated, copy of Our Bodies, Ourselves when I started my period at 9. I think she forgot that there were illustrations of different sex positions. Naturally, I became the elementary school sexpert and would correct my classmates when they talked about getting pregnant from toilet seats or whatever weird child theories they had about how sex works. I also remember my dad getting upset once because I started asking my mom a bunch of questions about IUDs at the dinner table. Fun times. That is so amazing. And makes me feel better about how I'm handling it all with my daughter. We never used fake names for body parts, so I caught all kinds of side eye. I was buying panties at Victoria's Secret when she was like 4 and she asked me, loudly, "How does this work? Doesn't that string just get stuck in your vagina?" That looks really uncomfortable, so I explained that no, the string goes up your butt instead, and she looked at me, tossed it around in her head for a bit and said, "You have some of these. Do you have string up your butt right now? How do you even walk with that in there?" The lady that was folding panties lost it. That was a precursor to getting a call one day when a little boy in her class got kicked in the nuts and told the teacher he kicked me in the PP, and my daughter chimed in, "It's called a penis." Apparently all the kids loved the word and for the rest of the day wouldn't stop saying penis. Typing this, I'm realizing that I've created exactly what your mom did. And crap. No one owes your niece, and it sounds like she freaks out when she doesn't get her way. I see what you are saying here, but her reaction reminded me of a childhood memory of my own. My aunt and uncle had come to visit my family, and we were all downtown looking around and ended up in an art studio. I found this tall vase that was like $1,000, to which I exclaimed, "Wow, that's an expensive trash can." How was I supposed to know it was a vase? I was like 10 and the thing was almost 4 feet tall. Everyone in the store was laughing, and I immediately felt embarrassed and ran out the store crying. My dad had to come out and console me that I wasn't stupid and what I said was just really funny. Not the butthole. I mean, There's more than one way, right? You could be there for a week with a slideshow and everything. Original poster replies. / changes slide, and this way is called the 69 position. And that, sweetie, is how you keep the ball supported with your right hand, while massaging the toes with your left, and keeping your jaw relaxed the whole time. It's the family blowjob. Your mom invented it when she was a freshman in high school. She's a legend still. Edit. I'm always grateful for an award, but the fact that someone gave this the wholesome and the helpful awards has me jumping with joy. Bless your very sick hearts. Come to all my parties forever. Edit 2, y'all. I am laughing out loud and my cheeks hurt from smiling, and truly I cannot thank you all enough. I haven't laughed like this in a while and it feels so good. Thank you. Edit 3, seriously I laugh out loud with every single new award. Y'all are turning around a streak of a few bad days. Or maybe my whole life. I hope you all win the lottery and use it responsibly and discover unicorns and enjoy perfect health. I actually just woke my baby laughing out loud at this. Oh no, but also, that makes me very proud. Original poster replies. LMOO. Wow, your sister-in-law is entitled. If my kid had asked a couple something like that, I would be apologizing. What did she want? You to pull a sex tape off your phone and show it to the kid? Original poster replies. And this niece is last night when your soon-to-be uncle and I had sex on the roof. Also, sister-in-law is quite entitled sometimes, but overall she's tolerable. I mean, who am I to tell my brother what woman he should marry? Not the butthole. This was a good learning moment for her about boundaries and polite conversation. Or could have been, if your sister-in-law didn't push it. Even if your niece technically knows how humans procreate, there's a lot of nuance she would need for this conversation, maybe chiefly understanding sex for pleasure's sake differs from procreation. Weird that your sister-in-law wanted you to explain to her niece what makes you hot. I think proposing she explained it was a wonderful suggestion. And the only reason why at 11 they are being taught reproductive health is due to the fact that some girls get their periods at this age, and they should be prepared. Some kids at 11 aren't going to grasp the concept of sex for pleasure and love. In fact, the niece asking how you'd make babies makes me think that she's not quite there yet. I'd add that another reason students are taught reproductive health, when done properly but still age-appropriate, is to explain consent, appropriate and inappropriate touching, etc., and to give children the vocabulary and knowledge they need to keep themselves safe and ask for help from an adult when they need to. Smiley face, poor kid. No, not the butthole, but probably could have been handled without everyone laughing at her. There's key books for younger teens that, as far as I know, explain it in the same way that heterosexual sex is explained. Might be worth considering. If a kid's old enough to ask, they're usually old enough for some sort of age-appropriate explanation. But I entirely appreciate that a couple don't want to be explaining the ins and outs, ahem, to an 11-year-old of the other sex. Original poster replies. Yeah, I want to get her a book or something, but my fiancé is uncomfortable doing that. He says it's not really our place and it's up to sister-in-law and my brother. There's nothing you can do. Your niece is just going to have to learn about this the old-fashioned way, discovering Naruto fanfiction at age 12 on the family computer and losing the next 6 months of her life. Original poster replies. Oh God, the way we all had to do it, shudder. Believe me, it could be worse. My big fanfic thing was Ninja Turtles. Original poster replies. Mine was Atla laughing out loud. I would never tell someone else's child how sex works, gay or not. It's not my job and it's too personal. Not the butthole. God, no. First of all, if you don't want to talk about your private life with a kid, you do not have to. Second, that is a lot of information for even a mature 11-year-old, and really isn't something that she should hear from someone other than her own parents at this stage. If you had answered her, you might have gotten yelled at for providing a kid with too much information. It's great that she feels comfortable around you guys, enough to ask questions. It's also within your right to enforce boundaries and answer appropriately. That's information for when you're older. It's private between the two of us. There are a lot of ways two people can show each other love. You are an awesome uncle and not the butthole. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.